Hello everybody and welcome to Cymatic TV. This is going to be the energy update of what's going on with the prana energy or the chi energy that flows through the universe, through the solar system, through the earth and then through you and me. How it's going to be affecting our chakras and so forth, and how it can be affecting our consciousness. Now last week we went into the alignments with 3i Atlas and how it was conveying an understanding that's coming through. And, with certain different alignments over the third and the fourth. So it's running through at this present time. Now, before that sort of conjunction there, the sun was actually flaring enormously in the direction of 3i Atlas. Now, I said, could this destroy the comet? And, sort of fracture it. And as it gradually floats away, it gradually sort of separates, as it were, you know what I mean? And I've been seeing a little bit more on that. And it seems to be, I'd wait over the next couple of days to see if we start seeing fracturing that's happening. It's certainly changed speed, direction and colour. Now, I think that's because the sun is a conscious being, and it consciously changed the vibration of the comet to have less damaging effects upon the vibration that's running through the solar system, and in theory running through you and I in sense of consciousness. So it helps to bring forth the understanding or the lessons that not lessons, it's the re-evaluation of what energy is, what spirit is, what the solar system, the earth system is, how it all sort of connects together. And I think that's what the understanding's coming through. Now, this also played in that sunspot that's been hitting 3i Atlas over the past sort of 2 weeks really, is now turning round in our sort of direction, and it's still flaring, and it's still going off. So nothing really to be concerned about at this present second, although there has been some flares that's going to be affecting the energies that are coming through the earth, and then obviously then through you and I. But it's still turning in the direction of the earth, and we may well see the fire energy picking up over the next few days, which will carry on effects all the way through the weekend. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at what's been going on recently with the eruptions on the sun in regards to X-flares and how it's been affecting the earth. At the moment here, you can see that there's a build-up here of flaring activity, and that's that sunspot that went round the back of the sun, was of interacting with 3i Atlas and is now heading back facing towards Earth. It has certainly been picking up a lot more, and it's still got a lot of potential to be having a lot more eruptions in this coming week. The Earth's magnetic field, or the aura of the Earth, if you like, has been pretty stable. I think there's going to be a slight peak over the next few days, may even combine with a coronal hole, and that's where the flare and the coronal hole start coming into play with one another. And with all the filaments on the disk as well at the moment, on the sun at the moment, that's a lot of water energy. So we're getting the water, earth, fire and air energy all coming together. And this is what I was talking about last week in the messages from energy on the Astroflower, our sister channel, where we channel a lot of the messages coming through the vibrations that I can physically see floating around the morphic fields going around. So I give you a message in the chakra sequencing, and that plays into exactly what has been going on with the sun. So we've had these eruptions here, as you can well see, and there's been quite some big ones, big long M flares as well, but not quite directed in the direction of the earth, and that's creating a lot of air energy that's coming through, a lot of mental third eye energy, intuition, inner visions, and I think that's going to add to that uptick of people becoming aware of what is going on. And that's what that message is from 3i Atlas. So that's been coming through at the moment. And as I say, I think that the aura of the Earth is going to definitely pick up in the next few days. Because we've got a combination between a coronal hole, Earth energy, and we've got that solar flare coming through as well, which is creating a combination of fire, but mainly air energy. And we'll see that right now. So here we have the sun at the moment here, and you can see here, these are these black filaments here. These are the filament energy, as I just sort of said. It's that water energy, and I think that's filtering a lot of the emotions actually out of the situation, because we're learning a lot consciously. We've also got this coronal hole here that's coming through here. Now that's Earth energy, and we're going to be looking at that in accordance to the earthquakes, because that's what the main generator of earthquakes is, the coronal holes. But we've also got on this far side, as you will see in a moment, far side of that coronal hole, we have that flaring coming back into the system. Now that's those sunspots that I was talking about, that's connected to the influence that it will have on 3i Atlas. And you can see on this section here, between this section here, there's a lot of eruptions going on in the last couple of days that we saw earlier on the X-ray flux. And that it's mixing together. So the coronal hole comes through at a slower speed to solar flares, and because the coronal hole's already coming through, I think we may get a double whammy where all the elements are all coming together. And this is exactly what we said in the messages from energy over on the Astroflower, with a sort of a twist to more sort of emotional or the water and the earth energies. But you can see that eruption here, you've got the coronal hole here, and you can see those eruptions that are slightly out to the that are coming over the limb at this present time, or been coming over in the last sort of 3 or 4 days. That's going to be facing Earth in the next sort of, I would have said, by the 6th or the 7th of November. And if it's still erupting, then that's when we can really start ramping up the fire energy as well. There has been, as you can well see here, you can see there's quite a lot of plasma ejection. And you can see it around this sort of section here. Here we go, in the plasma ejection. And it does sort of like, increases the width of the flare, as it were. So therefore, I think we're going to get quite a bit of plasma energy that sort of comes through from the sun at the moment. And let's just have a quick closer look at those eruptions, shall we, and how it's affecting our sort of chakra systems, or the Earth's chakra system more than anything else. So let's just go into those flares at the moment. Now this is one of the flares that comes off on the 3rd. As it's coming off the sun, it goes past and whacks Mercury. So that's all about the information, giving that communication. And then it starts hitting the Earth here, as you can well see here on this section here. You can it hits there around about 6 o'clock on the 5th of November. Now 6 o'clock regarding to the Earth is approximately where we have the crown chakra. So it's going to be where India is going to be in the full midday, and it's going to be taking on the full blast, as it were. But the actual eruption itself, if we go back to let's go back to the X-ray flux. So here it is here. If we go back to the X-ray flux, you can see the eruptions we're talking about. It came off at midday, which is pretty much with the UK or European and African time. That's to do with the heart chakra. So it started in the heart chakra. Now this is really important in accordance to what we were talking about on the Astroflower and the messages from energy. It was all about the heart taking center stage here. And I think this is the initial vibration that's coming out of the consciousness at the moment, is the joy of understanding, the joy of learning, the joy of sort of seeing things differently, so we can understand the greater universe, and therefore we can understand us. And as it does come through here, it comes through into the crown chakra. Now, that was also very particular on the messages from energy on the Astroflower. If you haven't seen it, it will be about my head. There'll be another one coming out this week in the next couple of days. So it's all about bringing the heart into our consciousness. And that's what it was talking about at the moment. And, there is a different and discrepancies between the two times, really, of when it sort of comes through. If we look at another prediction of that flare here, let's just bring that one up, because this is the other prediction method, the model that we use. And you can see here it actually shows it going out a lot further away from Earth rather than actually connecting to Earth. But what it does is it takes out that arm, and eventually that arm then kicks in, on the 6th, as you can well see, around about sort of 9 o'clock. It probably starts affecting us really, in that sort of 1800 hours sort of scenario, which is also at the crown chakra. So it seems like the crown chakra could be actually sort of like taking a hit twice over 2 days in a way. And it could be the way that this arm really kicks back in. If I just show you again, that's that arm of the sun that's reforming, that was taken out by the flare, as it were. As you can see right at the beginning here, as it comes through, the flare takes out that arm there, as you can well see, and affects the other arm. And as it's playing through there, that's where it seems to be really hitting us. And that seems to be on the 7th. So that's another sort of prediction that's coming through NASA and so forth. But whatever way it is, there's a connection between the heart and the consciousness as well. So I would encourage you to explore your heart's desires when trying to put in place any projects you're doing, business or jobs, or even if it's on a spiritual path, on a personal path in regards to relationships and so forth. Allow your heart to be the leader in all of this at the moment. It's difficult sometimes because we don't want our heart to get out there and get damaged by the world around us, obviously. But I think here it's not a case of, it's quite nice to be a child to ask questions. And sometimes, we're asking questions and we may not know the answers, and other people may know the answers, but don't feel, diminished by that at all. I think it's good to ask those questions and really start learning and opening up, because every day is a school day. We're all learning, going through this process. Okay, so I think this is what's coming through at the moment. That ties in really, really well with the messages from energy that we saw on the Astroflower, with the heart chakra and also the crown and the root. And it was also about sort of wiping the slate clean as well. And it's wiping that slate clean is sort of like bringing a little bit of air energy into our solar plexus in combination with the third eye or the throat chakra. And this seems to be playing out on multitudes of sort of levels. So let's go back to that coronal hole and let's see how it's affecting the chakras of the earth. And in regards to earthquakes, but also in regards to hurricanes. So let me just show you the chakra map that I've got. Now these are ley lines, these are energy lines that go across the earth, the main energy lines that go across the earth. Obviously there's a multitude of different ley lines that are going on, but these seem to be the main arteries that are creating the chakra system that I created back in 2000 or 1998 to be precise actually. And you can see right in the middle there, right at the top, that's the heart chakra. To the right of that, you get the crown chakra. Now that's going to be quite important, and we've seen how the sun is playing between those two chakras as it is. The other combination as well is to the far right. You've got the solar plexus, which is in in Australia, sorry. And then you've got the third eye and the throat chakra, which is out in Mount Fuji in Japan. Now, there is a combination that is going on between those two points of reference of energy. It's also, we can see that also in the tornadoes or the hurricanes that are going through that area at the moment there. And it's a real go-between the two, between the solar plexus and the third eye and the throat chakra. Let's just have another look at sort of different energies and see how that's conveying through the vortices of energies. Now, this is the same ley lines or the energy lines that go across the Earth. And what we're looking at is in the top section here. Let me just bring in this. So you'll have to excuse certain aspects of it. You can see that there's vortices at the top there. Now, they're actually sort of spinning in a direction that are bringing that energy from the heart chakra over through the energy lines through to the crown chakra, because you have a crossing point which is just up here, and that crossing point is the heart chakra. And if you follow that line, that blue line all the way through, it goes right to this section here, which is the crown chakra as well. So it's that solid blue line that's connecting the heart to the crown chakra as well. And that's playing in, as I said, through the vortices, but also through that we can see where the coronal hole has been affecting it, through the earthquakes. Now, there was quite a big earthquake, which you can see up in Turkey as well, which is just to the right of the heart chakra, but halfway towards the crown chakra as well. And it's releasing that earth energy, that understanding of the mechanics of energies between the heart and the crown chakra, or the consciousness. The other thing that we should be looking at as well is down in Australia and up towards Japan. You can see that sort of line of earthquakes in a typical place, because it's in the ring of fire, but it seems to be connecting the two with a very big earthquake of 6.1, 6.2, I think, up in the Russian sort of area. If we look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is where we look at 4.5 and above, we can see that line that goes between Australia and Japan on the right hand side. You can see that line of earthquakes which are linking the crown chakra, the heart chakra, and the solar plexus, and then invertedly also towards the third eye and the throat chakra. There's a little bit been going on within the root chakra as well, it's got to be said, and that's why it's connecting the root and the crown, because they are both one chakras. The other thing I would like to show you as well is the hurricane that's coming through at the moment. So there is quite a lot of things going on in regards to a hurricane that's coming in that sort of direction. They've been hit quite recently with that, as you can well see in this section here already. They can see the remnants of one that's gonna hits into towards Thailand and so forth. But the one that we're interested in is this puppy here. And I sort of saying, when the eruption of the sun is not quite hitting the earth, it's hitting and giving it a side swipe. That's what creates that static electricity. And it seems to be here where this hurricane here that you can see just here is starting around this period here when we had those flares that were taking off. And look at it over the next few days, it just builds and builds and builds. And it's one of the biggest hurricanes that I've seen, or what they call a typhoon, biggest typhoon that we've seen this year, even if we take in Americas and so forth. And we saw that other one in Jamaica as well, in the last week as well, which devastated enormously Jamaica. Our heart goes out to everybody out there. But this is creating that sort of static vibration, or that electricity that's going between the solar plexus and the crown, the solar plexus and the third eye and the throat chakra. So this is like physically getting on with our inner vision according to the new information that will be coming through, I think, on the 5th and the 6th and possibly going right through to the 7th, a greater understanding. It's a bit of an aha moment within the collective consciousness coming up. So it's all eyes on what's happening in the world and what's happening with yourself as well, more than anything else, and how it's affecting your journey. Because it'd be lovely to hear about it in the comments in the comments section below. If you want to see as well the messages from energy, where we go into the chakra sequencing of the human energies according to the energies that are flowing through the Earth system at the moment, and get channeled energy messages from the energy, but also looking at the portal in the center of the Earth and seeing what's coming through on those sort of things. You'll find that on the Astroflower, our sister channel. It will be about my head and so forth. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you very much for subscribing, liking and sharing. It really helps us with the algorithm and so forth. It was absolutely beautiful to see you all again, and I will see you soon. And if that flare does start hitting off even more, look out for sort of more updates on this channel over the coming week. In the meantime, all that's left for me to say is, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.